All right, there we go. Bigger effort or better effort, I should say. I don't know why I struggled to put the words together, but Rangers win 5-2 over the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 30 of the regular season here, and not too bad of a game. There's definitely a lot of luck that got involved in this game. We'll talk more about that. There's really, honestly, like mostly luck, unfortunately, kind of went the Rangers' way for them to win it. But I'll take that, honestly, rather than them getting whooped, because at least they were competitive in this game. It's not like something where they got completely lucky, even though they were dominated. They still played a respectable effort. You just would have liked more. That's just me personally. And I know people don't like when I complain when the team wins, but there was definitely some flaws in the game tonight. That's the unfortunate part. There was flaws mostly in the second period is where those flaws were. But yeah, they escaped it 2-1. And you know what? If you want to take a big positive away, if you want the biggest positive we could take away, Igor Shesterkin has now had it together for 2 consecutive games, which is something we have not been able to say really most of the season. And he was great. Igor Shesterkin was great in this game, and now it's 2 games in a row where he ends up playing. I mean, this was definitely a more impressive one because he was tested a lot more. I mean, Toronto in that second period alone had, I think, 6 high danger chances at 5v5. Unacceptable defensive effort by the Rangers. There's no denying that, especially that period. But yeah, Igor Shesterkin, huge response. Huge response from him from what we've been talking about lately. There was just a lot to like. But before we jump further into the recap here and talk more about everything, please be sure to leave a like on the post-game show if you have not already. We have 30 of you guys in here. Let's see if we can get to 30 likes. Let's do it. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. Turn on your notifications as well so you know when I upload or go live. Also, I appreciate all of our members, our donators here on the channel, super chatters, whatever it may be. And I appreciate every single one of you. If you want to get to the garden, by the way, too, link is in the description for TickPick, because guess what? There are no fees on the ticket prices when you go and get them. So they are the best way to do it. And we do have a super chat coming in right now, $5 super chat from Michael in the chat. I appreciate it, saying that's how you win a road game. Take no penalties, score power play goals, and play sound defense. There was definitely a little bit of skepticism with their defensive play in that second period. No denying that, in my opinion. But they did play better defensively in the third, and they definitely were solid defensively in the first period. But yeah, the taking no penalties, what a huge thing that was, though, in this game. That's for sure. The Rangers have been kind of a team that's just been so undisciplined throughout the year, and it's just like every game I have to tweet, death taxes, Vinny Trocheck taking a penalty. Tonight, that tweet did not have to go up, and they stayed out of the box. That was one of the big difference makers in this. That's for sure. But yeah, let's get into it, though, because there's a lot to talk about here. First period, Pitlick with a bad breakout attempt. Toronto gets a good shift to open things up. Not a lot of great shots, but they get a good shift. Breakouts, unfortunately, would be a common theme as an issue yet again in this game. That's the unfortunate part here. But Fox with a good play on Gregor to get the puck out. Adam Fox doing a couple notable things early on in the game. We'll talk more about his play later on, though, too. Bonino leaves a puck in front for Will Cooley to bury it. He couldn't, unfortunately. Would have been cool to see Will Cooley score tonight because he was someone that had a very, very good effort, in my opinion, and he unfortunately didn't get rewarded with that good play that he had. But yeah, I digress. Lafreniere in the neutral zone, great little play there, and he gets it up to Trocheck. Gives it over to Panarin. He shoots wide. Then later on in the shift, Loff to Panarin. That gets denied again. So Panarin with a couple good opportunities there. Unfortunately, could not capitalize on it. Fox with another good play to cause a rush chance for Jimmy Vesey. He got denied. Jimmy Vesey, we'll talk more about him. I thought he had a very good game as well. Bertuzzi left alone, though, by Adam Fox. Unfortunately, Fox did have some shaky moments in this game. Thankfully, though, he couldn't bury it. And then JT at the door misses it. Just a bad shift from Fox and Lindgren there, though. Too much going out of position, too much leaving guys open, and breaking the puck out yet again being an issue, and that's just unfortunately been a theme for this team throughout the season. Gustafsson, then horrible breakout pass. Yarncroke gets a shot in the slot later on. He fired wide on that. Don't know where Barclay Goodrow is. Just no back-checking effort there from the forwards. Brodzinski gets set, Brodzinski sets up Schneider. He unfortunately couldn't bury that. Fourth line with a good shift. And then Goodrow tries to tip one in. That got missed. The fourth line was really the only one consistent on the forecheck tonight. That's another thing, again, we'll talk about. Trouba with a terrible shift. Igor got tested way too much because of it, and he had to make a couple stops on Matthews. I thought Jacob Trouba had another thing we'll get into. There's really a lot to talk about with this game. Then you have just a horrendous shift here. Way too many east-west passes on this one here, on this shift. Adam Fox, terrible east-west pass. Then you have Vinny Trocheck, terrible east-west pass as well, and then it causes a rush the other way. Fox thankfully makes the back-checking play, but why are we forcing these east-west passes here when clearly the passing lane's closed? That tells me that you're not confident in your forecheck, and rightfully so. The forecheck, especially in that first period, disgustingly awful. Like, I'm sorry, the forecheck was horrendous in that first period. Not enough board play, losing all the board plays that you get, and then they were overloading way too much on certain sides on their forecheck and not causing havoc. It's causing free breakouts for the Maple Leafs. Here they come. You have a guy cherry picking, and they're able to get the rush chance. You need to be able to. You need to play more. You need to play a better style on the forecheck is what I'm trying to say. You need to be better on the forecheck, and you need to cause more havoc so they can't have those clean breakouts. Toronto, that was really the Rangers' Achilles heel at points in this game, which is why their defensive effort was sloppy at points in this game as well, is the breakouts and the lack of forechecking. The lack of forechecking was just not good enough, in my opinion, in this game. Brodzinski, he got a shot, though. That got denied, but again, a respectable effort defensively in that period. They allowed 2 high danger chances, so not too crazy there. But a lot of it, again, came because of breakout issues. The Leafs thankfully also missed the net a couple times, but Igor made a couple big saves there. And offensively, again, a lot of it was off of the rush. They were not really getting enough off the cycle and not enough. They weren't getting in on the forecheck enough. And a lot of it had to do with the passes too, like not making tape-to-tape passes, trying too hard to make the east to west plays. They just need to simplify their game, in my opinion. And I'm sure that's something that they'll clean up. But for tonight, they were not good enough in terms of those passes, and especially going east-west, which is something that really killed them. But we get to the second period. Again, open that with a bad breakout too. Brutal breakout attempt by Jacob Trouba causes Toronto to get a good shift. Thankfully, they don't get a lot of shots, but just a brutal opening shift there. Schneider then had himself a good shift. He's winning the board battle. He's pinning the guy against the boards. I don't remember who it was, but he's looking for some puck support. Gustafsson, let's go. Come here and help me get the puck out of the zone. And then no, he just doesn't help at all. Then he tries to break it out and doesn't do that. Gregor almost snuck one in, and Gustafsson was just not even there on his guy. Just, again, like little things that just annoyed me with this game. The second period, though, is where a lot of the defensive mistakes were. That's the unfortunate part. But Lafreniere with good work. He sets up Trocheck. Then that goes over to Panarin. He couldn't score. Nobody's able to get the rebound there, but a really good chance there for the Rangers. Miller has a good defensive play on a pass to Bertuzzi there. Nice little break up there. Nylander comes in and sets up Matthews. Good stop there by Igor. Trouba, though, leaving Miller on an island. That happened way too much tonight. Jacob Trouba was, like I said, he had a horrible game. Jacob Trouba was horrible tonight. Keandre Miller, thankfully, was good, though, so we don't have to rant too much. But a rebound chance, a loose in front. Gustafsson, thankfully, would make sure Igor covers that. The Rangers would open the scoring, though, to make it 1-0 as they get a little bit of a fluky goal. By a little bit, I mean a very fluky goal, as Blake Wheeler just fires one on. It goes off of TJ Brody and Mika Zibanejad and ends up going into the back of the net to make things 1-0. Chris Kreider would get an assist on that as well. So you take the 5v5 points there. You take the goal despite it being fluky. Then Toronto, though, would respond pretty much a minute afterwards, a little over a minute afterwards. It's Panarin, terrible pass. Fox then ends up getting the puck. Terrible pass in the neutral zone, leaving it right in the middle to Morgan Rielly, who just walks Panarin. And then Adam Fox just gets walked too. Doesn't even get in the passing lane on this one. Matthews left all alone in front. Ryan Lindgren completely abandoning his man. Not completely abandoning him. He was there, but just terrible pressure there. And then he snipes one past Igor Shesterkin. And I don't know if Lindgren was screening Igor on that one a bit either, but regardless, just a ridiculous shot from Matthews. And I'll credit him on that one, but you got to cover the league's best shooter there. Like, come on, Lindy. What are we doing there? He's another one that really didn't have a great game. Lagesson, though, would go off for a holding penalty, so the Rangers would go on the power play, and they had a lot of good chances. Kreider breaks in, couldn't get the pass across, unfortunately. Panarin with a shot that saved. Brodzinski would get 2 good shots, but then Alexi Lafreniere from Brodzinski and Gustafsson, he would fire one on goal, and it goes off of Morgan Rielly and into the back of the net to make things 2-1. I will absolutely take that there. I'm not going to complain about that goal there, but yeah, 2-1. Another little bit of a lucky goal. Zibanejad denied on a one-timer. 2 good shifts in a row there, though, from the Rangers. The fourth line and the first line getting some good shifts going. That was really where I was like, all right, the forecheck's looking better. Hopefully it stays consistent. But then Jacob Trouba, terrible pinch by him here, going for a hit for whatever reason on Brody. Then a rush comes the other way. Keandre Miller, beautiful diving play to stop Yarncroke from the pass across. Then later in the shift, he bodies Robertson in front. Really good shift from him. And then he tries to break the puck out. And unfortunately, things got ugly there. But yeah, Nylander too gets to walk behind Trouba. Thankfully, Igor would make the stop. Just a chaotic shift there. But again, little things. Igor, though, with a huge stop on Tavares as well. And I think Bertuzzi also got a shot too that was stopped. Lindgren again, blowing an assignment yet again. And Fox was just too far up in the play at points as well. I thought that pair in general was just having a rough night. Fox, he was good in the first period, but after that, things started to die off, unfortunately. But Schneider, good work keeping traffic away in front of the net to let Igor see the puck. I love what we saw from him there. I love what we saw from Schneider in general tonight. And yeah, good play there, thankfully, to keep David Kampf away from the net. So Igor was able to make the stop. Miller with a bad turnover on a breakout yet again. And then Trouba has to make a good block on Tavares in front. So Jacob Trouba at least making up for the mistakes. They're making up for each other's mistakes tonight. What do you know? But brutal defensive period that second period. Did not like the second period at all. 6 high danger chances against, 1 high danger chance for. Unacceptable. And again, the offense not creating enough outside of the fourth line. I wanted to see sustained offense, and I wanted to see them really start to get more chances off the cycle. And unfortunately, we didn't get that at all in this game. But again, they still at least come away with the 2 points. And for a team that never gets puck luck, I can't complain. I can't complain. We get to the third period. Bertuzzi with a chance alone, denied. Even Joe Micheletti's pissed off. Trouba just did his controller disconnect. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, even Joe was like, I thought Brodzinski said they wanted to limit the odd man rushes. Well, yeah, me too. And thankfully they did very good after that. But yeah, that was a poor play. Then it would be tied at 2. I shouldn't say they did great after that because this was horrendous. Jake McCabe somehow able to pinch in freely. Lindgren's like, you know what? Fine, I'll go pressure him as the pass is coming across. Chris Kreider not even acknowledging Austin Matthews behind him in the faceoff dot, and he ends up sniping one to score. That ties the game up at 2. Just embarrassing defensive play there yet again. Panarin with a couple of good chances, one on the backhander denied. Matthews thankfully couldn't make the tape-to-tape pass to Nylander alone in front. So that stopped the Rangers from getting an unfortunate break there. Brodzinski got a shot denied. VC on a 2-on-1 decides to pass it. That got blocked. And then it becomes 3-2 as Gustafsson sets up Braden Schneider, who just walks John Tavares. No one on the Leafs playing defense there, and that makes it 3-2 as Braden Schneider. A beautiful game from him. He gets rewarded with a goal there as well. Thankfully, the Leafs didn't want to play defense there. That makes it 3-2. But again, good goal there by him regardless. And again, great game from him. Arguably his best of the season. He gets rewarded with the goal. Then the Rangers get a rush right after that. Panarin's shot gets blocked. VC gets the puck on a turnover, gets a breakaway. That got stopped. The refs miss a clear trip. The linesman was there, but why would linesmen be allowed to call things that are blatant? Like, why would we make that a thing in the NHL? That would make too much sense. Another rush for the Rangers again. No, I read that wrong. Toronto got a lot of pressure is what I mean. Thankfully, though, Camp would end that as he ends up going off for a tripping penalty, and the Rangers would get a huge, huge power play goal there. Gustafsson comes onto the ice. Fox had a couple good plays before that, but the Rangers, great chances. And great passing there by Trocheck and Gustafsson, and then Artemi Panarin would get the puck. He tries to set up Kreider for the deflection, but it ends up deflecting off Lagesson and into the back of the net. So 4-2 there. And then Mika would hit the dagger for the empty netter there. And again, good on the Rangers for playing better defensively later on in that third period. They opened up ugly, but they played better in the later on. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't capitalize on some of the chances they got. They had a lot of rush opportunities where they'd either miss the net or they would just simply they'd simply pass up opportunities or just settle for a bad shot too. So that's the unfortunate part. The offense didn't look crisp in this game. Again, I would have liked to have seen a better forechecking effort, but yeah, it is what it is. The defensive effort was just, it was okay. It was okay. There was just, again, that second period really leaves a bad taste in your mouth for the defensive play. And then obviously that second goal too that the Leafs scored leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I didn't love the defensive effort personally, though. I didn't. Schneider, he had a good game. Gustafsson, I think the chart's doing him a favor for how he played defensively. I thought he played a little bit worse defensively. He wasn't horrendous, but I thought he was just okay. I didn't think he was as good as the chart suggests. Fox and Lindgren at the bottom makes a lot of sense, so those two weren't great. Trouba being that good defensively doesn't make sense to me. I thought Miller kind of carried that pair at points. Again, that's just me, but you have a couple guys in the forward group that says had good defensive efforts. Interesting to look at the charts after this game, but yeah, I mean, I for one can't complain too much. The Rangers never get a game like this where they get lucky bounces, but yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I was about to say. And yeah, they have to cover the slot better. They have to cover the slot better. That was a problem at points in this game, unfortunately. But thankfully, the Leafs were missing the net at points. So, yeah. Overall, I'm 50-50 on the game. I'm 50-50. Like, you take that win, especially on the road, but I would have liked more offensively, and at points defensively, they were a bit sloppy, but that's just me. But before we jump further into the recap here, please be sure to leave a like if you have not already. Subscribe if you guys have not already. And let's get to the chat and see what you guys have to say. Didn't know Schneider had it like that. Yeah, I'm glad to see he proved me wrong after I bashed on him a lot. He had a very, very good effort. Yeah, Igor, two good games from him. Schneider had a noticeably strong game even before he scored. I agree, Dimitri. I liked Schneider's effort a lot. Have to be happy with the effort, the overall effort. I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50 personally. Bad voice crack there. My goodness. Terrible voice crack by me. Great win. Was not happy in the game. Yeah, I didn't great either. Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Not a great performance, but great to get the win. Love how Igor has bounced back, but this team has got to improve its forechecking. Not enough offense is being created off the cycle. That's the main thing that really is like, the positive that I'm trying to take away here is that Igor stole a game for the Rangers this year now. He stepped up big. Igor stepped up big. Yeah, there were problems with the defense. Trouba was an absolute defensive liability. He must have given the puck away 8 times. Yeah, I didn't like Trouba's game. I think the charts doing way too much of a favor for how he played defensively. Trouba was not. He didn't have a great game tonight. Yeah, Fox wasn't great. They also have to be much better, much more consistent defensively. The defense in the second and the beginning of the third was bad. Trouba and Lindgren struggled. Yeah, I agree with that. The inconsistency from certain periods is just it's concerning. Like it's fine if they have bad defensive periods. It's going to happen, but it's the fact that night in and night out, it feels like they just take periods off at times. It's concerning. Like they did the same thing against Anaheim, where it was great. They were leading after that, and it looked like they were the better team just because they had the lead. But if you look into, if you're looking for the little things, you could understand why someone like me is upset. Or, if you look at the analytics, you could understand why it is that way because they weren't great defensively. Yeah, VC had a great game. I think the charts did him very dirty. Yeah, the fourth line was doing a good job for checking. Breakouts were bad. So many passes off point. Yeah, I agree with that. They didn't break the puck out cleanly tonight. Yeah, I agree. The linesmen have been annoying this year. Granted, that feels like every year where it's like just drop the puck. They try too hard to make it about themselves. The inability to get the puck out of the zone has killed them this year. There's just way too many times where they are careless with the puck, careless and lazy with the puck. I agree with that completely. Like the breakout efforts, it's really the breakout efforts that I'm talking about consistently night in and night out, it feels like. I have to get some mods in here just to the ban the idiots in the chat. I'll definitely make Matt a moderator. He's always in here. Like obviously you're on the podcast and we talk a lot, but yeah, just ban idiots like that one person commented in the chat before. Let's see. I really think Kreider's playing hurt. Not that I'm making excuses from him. His misassignment on the second Matthews goal. I'm sorry. I just think this is who Chris Kreider is, where you never get a consistent effort from him. He's Mr. Inconsistent. Like some nights you get one of the better players in the league and it looks like his contract's a bargain, and other nights he's just simply a liability, unfortunately. Like I just think that's who Chris Kreider is, sadly. Yeah, I agree. The Trocheck line was passing way too much tonight. Yeah, brutal effort by Kreider on that second Matthews goal. I missed the second period. First and third looked good, and the 2 minutes I saw of the second, they weren't terrible. The second period was really brutal. The second period was brutal defensively. I mean, even offensively, they didn't really generate a lot of chances in general tonight, but the second period especially, that was not a great period. I mean, don't get me wrong, you take them being up after that period, but Igor definitely masked a lot of issues, and they got a couple lucky bounces their way, which again, you take that. Games like that happen throughout the course of a season, but yeah, things just need to be cleaned up. That's all. second place in the league, only behind Vegas with 2 games in hand. Are we the team to beat? I wouldn't say that they're the team to beat right now. There's a lot of good competition. And I'm not someone that thinks, just based on the standings that determines how, like, what the best teams are. That's just not me. I think there's certain teams that play the right way, and sometimes they end up with less wins. Like, I don't know, but don't get me wrong. This is not me saying that the Rangers aren't a good team. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of good competition, and I'm not saying that. And I don't think that they're necessarily the team to beat. I really don't think there is a team to beat in general right now. I think that there's a lot of teams that there's not really a juggernaut this year to me. Any info on Hedel and Kakko? Not to my knowledge. With Hedel, I think he's still skating by himself. With Kakko, I don't even know. The Leafs gave up after goal 5. I think they pulled their goalie too soon. Yeah, I was shocked they pulled their goalie with what was it, 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left? That was a bit bizarre to me, but yeah. I don't know. That was definitely weird, but I for one will not complain. I for one could not complain. Yeah, you're in here a lot, Christopher. I can mod you as well. I appreciate that. I just need to I just need to get more mods in the chat because there's too many people, too many idiots, too many idiots. Kane got 2 assists last night, so he's up to 4 points in 6 games, but I don't know. Who's the Rangers' biggest threat in your opinion? I don't know. Dallas scares me a lot. LA, even though the Rangers beat them, they still scare me. Boston scares me for obvious reasons, even though the Rangers beat them. Florida definitely scares me. I think Florida's underratedly one of the better teams in the game. Winnipeg is very good this year too. Colorado, Vegas. There's a lot of good competition. I'm not saying all these teams necessarily. I'm not saying the Rangers can't beat these teams. I'm just saying these are a lot of teams that are, playing really good. Yeah, I agree that they should just LTIR those guys until the playoffs, or at least one of them. If not, they're gonna have to move. They have to find a way to move Barclay Goodrow at the deadline if they're not gonna LTIR. If they're not gonna LTIR. Yeah, the East Panthers and Bruins, and the West Kings and Stars. I agree. I agree. Yeah, I'll do that too. Again, I appreciate people that want a mod. I really do. Obviously, don't abuse it. Otherwise, I'll have to take it away. But if somebody's actively just saying something just stupid and directly towards anyone in the chat, or just me, obviously, then hit the ban on them, because I don't care or have patience for these people. It's one thing if people disagree with my opinion. I really don't care. People could disagree with my opinion, but when you start making it personal, it's a bit it's odd. It's just odd. Moving Goodrow, that's Mike Tomlin AB, sadly. Yeah, probably, unfortunately. But Drury's gonna have to make some sort of move because of the fact that, yet again, good GMs move cap space and work ways around with the cap at the deadline. And what is he gonna do? Not make an ad? Somebody's gonna have to get moved. Somebody will. But let's see what else we got. By the way, Michael, again, thank you so much for that $5 dono. I really do appreciate that a lot. You guys have been killing it with the support. If you have not left a like, be sure to do that. Um, let's see if we could get to 50 yet again here on the post game show. Hello, Cat. Yeah, he's just chilling back there. He's just chilling back there. I'd get the dog on stream every now and then, but she's a bit of a yapper. And she'll start going crazy. I hope the Rangers don't play down to Buffalo on Saturday. Hear me out. Sabres just got blown out. They're going to be pissed. Not to mention the Rangers play Friday against the Oilers. Big weekend. I could not agree more that, yeah, they got to be prepared. Buffalo waxed them last time they were in that they were in the building. Like, you got to be prepared and you got to be able to you got to respond. I think being making a statement early is huge, but obviously one game at a time. They got to worry about Edmonton first, especially for that team. Chris Knobloch, who kind of knows the ins and outs of the organization a bit, that could be a little bit of a tough game for the Rangers with the way Chris Knobloch is familiar. And Edmonton, I know they lost to the Islanders tonight, but they've still been a much better team under Knobloch versus what we saw previously and what we saw from them earlier on in the season when the Rangers played them. Yeah, I saw some of those cat friendly trades. I mean, the Stamkos one would be great. I would like Stamkos at the deadline if possible, but uh but yeah, I don't think that it would be just Kakko. That would be great, but it's not going to be that if they get him. Drury needs to clear cap space, especially with the Panthers having $6 million at the deadline and the Canes having $9 million at the deadline. I agree with that. Yeah, they got to be able to clear things up. Rocco, what's going on? Quick gets Buffalo. I think Quick gets Edmonton. I could be wrong, but I think Quick gets Edmonton maybe, and then Igor gets Buffalo. But again, I could be wrong about that. I've been wrong a lot. I could admit that. I could admit that. Wheeler's looking better. I wouldn't say he's looking great. He had two good games in a row, but tonight he definitely wasn't. He wasn't outstanding to me tonight, but he's definitely been better. He's definitely been better, and he's at least been serviceable at this point. I still just don't think he should be on the first line. I think Bonino really there needs to be a conversation about him coming out of the lineup. The fourth line got better when he got taken off of it, and the third line has been dragged down with him on it. And I get it. He blocks shots, but he hasn't done much to me. Winning faceoffs too, sure, but he doesn't do enough for me. He doesn't move the needle for me. And I think Adam Edstrom deserves to be playing over him. That's just me personally, though. But yeah, at least Wheeler's been he's been at least serviceable lately, which is nice. Outside of him not being able to stand on his own 2 feet and falling at least once. Give the Oilers game the Quick and Igor got the Sabres. Igor just played 2 in a row. I agree. That's what I think. Big Ed. Yeah, that's one of my favorite nicknames. I like Big Ed. I like that nickname. Devils might keep Hamilton out until the playoffs and use $9 million on defense and a goalie. Good news is, I don't want to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on wood, but there's not really been a lot of goalies that have been moved at the deadline that have played solid. But yeah, their defense maybe could help out, and maybe they could make a garbage goalie or make a goalie that they get look serviceable and decent. So that's definitely a concern. But if they keep this skid up, they might be selling at the deadline a bit, or yeah, I don't know. What do we all think of Brzezinski? Me personally, I think he's okay. I think he's good. I think he's good, and I think that he's better than some of the guys that play night to night, like Bonino and Gaudreau. But I don't know. You could still do better technically. You could still do better, obviously, but he's a good player. He's a good player. He's good enough for me. How do you feel about the season so far? What's the problems and what's the great things? Um, in terms of the great things, they've been like it's hard to point out because of the fact that, one of the bad things is that they've been inconsistent. But when they are playing a good defensive game, they're doing a very good job in their nails defensively. When they're playing good offensively, they're very, very lethal offensively. The problem is that it's just not consistent. And the main problem is really their breakouts. That's really the main point. But yeah, the biggest problem, and I keep saying it, and I'll continue to say it until they prove otherwise, is consistency with this group. Like, this is a very, very inconsistent group, unfortunately, and things could change, but that's really my that's really my biggest issue personally. I'd like to see Edstrom again. Me too. I liked Edstrom a lot. Ben Verlander. That dude shakes so much booty for Ohtani. Panarin's on a revenge tour, hopefully. Got to see it come playoff time, of course. Got to see it come playoff time. That's really the main factor. But yeah, he's been very good. Like, I'm watching him throw bot out there too, and I'm like, all right, that's what we want to see. I'd appreciate that night in and night out. We beat Boston, got revenge on the Leafs. Yeah, I mean they did, but again, got to see consistency. That's really all I'm asking for is consistency, or at least more of it. Like, I'll reiterate it because I always do. It's impossible to go 82-0. It's impossible to play perfect the whole season. Teams have ups and downs, but you need to at least have a like when they lose, they get beat bad. Like, they need to have respectable losses, and they just need to be at least like consistent in certain aspects. Like, at least if they're good defensively, it's like, all right, the other team just was better, and the Rangers just didn't have it offensively tonight. But sometimes it's like, oh, they're great offensively, they suck defensively. Some nights they suck offensively, they're great defensively. Some nights they're getting beat bad. Some nights they're in close games and shootouts. Some nights they look like the best team in hockey defensively and no other team's beating them. Some nights they look like one of the better offensive teams and nobody's beating them. So, like, I mean, it's just a little all over the place. And for a team that I just feel hasn't had an identity, I just would like to see that if it's possible. Yeah, Brodzinski, you said it perfectly. A reliable guy who could be called up and get the job done. He just gets the job done. And that's the type of guy the Rangers have lacked. Yes, that I agree with too. Just a solid guy, because like at points we're seeing Tim Gettinger come up in seasons. Like, no, get out of here with the Tim Gettinger garbage. I mean, I sign me up for this. If they win the President's Trophy and the Cup, I'll co-sign with that, Rocco. But it's too early to tell. It's too early to tell for me. Pitlick, yeah, he's been a little unnoticeable lately. Like, I think he's a good forechecker, but he's definitely not been doing much outside of that. And like, his board work I think is good, but there's definitely not been that great of efforts from him lately. But that's kind of your fourth liner. He's getting the job done to me. Like, I'm not concerned about Pitlick, but yeah, and guys like Michael Haley, Brendan Smith at the wing. Like, who else am I forgetting? I mean, Brendan Lemieux, even a guy like that was just not ideal. I'm forgetting. Just I don't even want to discuss some of the names, and I like McLeod. Oh, I want to vomit. Um, I'd buy a Trocheck jersey right now, Godfather. If I were you, I'm probably gonna rock a when the Stadium Series jerseys come out. I'm thinking about getting a Trocheck jersey. Mika's looking a bit better. I agree with that. Greg McKegg. Oh my. How did I forget Greg McKegg? to Claire coming home. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm gonna wrap things up here. Rocking a Panarin jersey. Nice, Rocco. I need a Trocheck or Heedle Stadium Series jersey. I just got a Heedle jersey recently, so I'm going to get a Troch one for sure. But I'm going to wrap things up here. I really do appreciate every single one of you that tuned into the post-game show. We peaked here at like 40-something viewers. You guys have been killing it. We're usually getting 40 to 60 viewers consistently in these, which I really do appreciate a lot. I'm just an idiot talking into a mic, and you guys just seem to love it. I'm not complaining at all. And I get that some people might not like some of my takes, but I'm brutally honest. I'm brutally honest. That's what you're gonna get from me. I'm not here to be all sunshine and rainbows, and gonna stick to it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to the post game show. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. Michael, again, appreciate the $5. Anyone else has donated, anyone else has been a member, I appreciate you a ton. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And see you guys in the next one. I appreciate you all. Let's go, Rangers.